ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यभिमहायोगीव यस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेमदेवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो हरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः 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 Page 46, 7th mantra. नान्तः प्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतः प्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यमलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यमेकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः. On page 47, the second paragraph in Bhāṣyam. Nantah pragnam ityadi nanu atmanah chatushpatvam pratignyaya पादत्रय कथनेन एव चतुर्थस्य अंतःप्रज्ञादिभ्यः अन्यत्वे सिद्धे नान्तःप्रज्ञम् इत्यादि प्रतिषेधः अनर्थकः न सर्पादि विकल्प प्रतिषेधेन एव रज्जुस्वरूप प्रतिपत्तिवत् त्रयवस्थस्य एव आत्मनः तुरीयत्वेन प्रतिपिपादयिषितत्वात् तत्त्वमसि इति वत्. That full stop which is there after pratipipadeshitvat, after that there is a full stop, we can remove that full stop. There is no need actually of that full stop. So now Bhāṣyakara is commenting on that 7th mantra. We already saw the introduction, and Bhāṣyakara introduces a pūrvapakṣa here, a question with reference to that first sentence, nantah pragnam, etc. Na vaish pragnam, na ubhayata pragnam, na pragnana ghanam. Gana pragna or pragnana ghanam, same thing. So all this Turīya is not antah pragna, na vahish pragna, not the pragnana gana. Antah pragna means a taijasa, the dreamer. Vahish pragna means the waker. And gana pragna or pragnana gana basically is a deep sleeper, prajna. So the Upanishad wants to convey that Turīya, the Ātmā, is actually not the waker, not the deep sleeper, not the dreamer. So Bhāṣyakara introduces pūrvapakṣa here, that why should Upanishad declare that Turīya is not like this. Upanishad itself has given 3 states in mantra number 3 to 6, 3 states of Atma has been talked about as a Vishwa Taijasa Prajna. And then now if we are introducing and then Upanishad negates, that's fine. But Upanishad has introduced And now while talking about the Turīya, the fourth pada of the Ātmā, then Upanishad negates it. Then why it introduce all the three states, all the three quarters of Ātmā? So Upanishad wants to reveal Turīya, that's fine. But the way Upanishad has revealed the three quarters of Ātmā, and we learned them properly, and now we are waiting for the fourth. Then while revealing about the fourth, Upanishad says, Turīya is not these first three. Turīya is not the Vaker, etc. So basically Turīya is known to everybody. That's one way of saying. Let me talk little later that part. That is one of the Acharya says that's also correct. But the other way is Turīya, the fourth one, which we are eager to know. So like the three distinct are there, Vaker, deep sleeper, because when the Vaker is there, this is deep sleeper is not there. Deep sleeper is there, this is not there, etc. Okay. So these three distinct you have revealed, Shastra has revealed. So then the fourth one also should be the distinct from three, right? So just as otherwise you cannot count it as a fourth. And therefore basically this three and this four have a same order of reality. Then only you can count 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one way of looking. And then you should tell very clearly that this Turīya is like this. Like you said, the first quarter of the Ātmā is a Vishwa and Virat, etc. You have not negated anything there. In the second quarter also you said about Tejasa, Hiranyagarbha, you have not negated anything. In Prajna also you did not negate anything. Prajna Ishvara, third pada. So fourth pada also should be the same. Because then only we can call fourth that it is distinct from these three and same order of reality. Then only we can say fourth. So while revealing that, you are saying now that this fourth is not the first three. Well, so that we did not follow that. Why should it? This is the first three are there, and that's how this is fourth. Same order of reality. That's one way of looking at it. Here Acharya, one of our teachers, says no, Turīya is as such known. Turīya, the self, is known, basically. So, how is it known? Well, it is not known as it is, but it is known with a mistake. Why it should be like that? Because it is self-revealing. What is self-revealing will be known. You have not to do any effort. You have not to put effort in terms of operating your means of knowledge. You have not to put any. So, like to know this, you need an effort, right? Means you have to operate your eyes, etc. Then only this is revealed to you. So here it's not like that. Ātmā is known to everybody. In fact, that's what Acharya says here, and that's true, but not known as it is. So there is a mistake, mistakenly known. And when anything is mistakenly known, in order to correct mistake, well, you have to negate those mistakes. That's what it is. And that is what is really happening. And so, last time I told you also, I gave you example. Bhāṣyakara, of course, here gives an example of a Rajju Sarpa, etc. And we can take an example of a actor itself. That actor, definitely we call it as a distinct, because actor is not the king, actor is not the minister, actor is not that sadhu, monk, etc. Therefore this is fourth. We want that actor is not either of this, but all these three are this one alone. All these three are one alone. Actor is not either of them. Actor is actor. So therefore, we very clearly say fourth, because you should know the actor as it is. Otherwise, you will take actor as just either a minister or a king or a some work is going on. So therefore, we call it fourth because it is really a distinct in terms of reality, and therefore we call it as a fourth to show the distinctness in terms of reality. Don't think that actor is either of this. So therefore we call fourth. But at the same time, all the three are this one alone. That's the example we gave last time. So anyway, so here, so Bhāṣyakara says, well, so don't worry about it. Na sarpadi vikalpa pratished. Na sarpadi vikalpa pratishedhena eva. No work was going on till this moment. Now work is there. Okay. So the sarpadi vikalpa pratishedhena eva. Rajju swarupa pratipattivat trayavasthasya atmanaha turiyatvena pratipadayishitatvat tattvamasitivat. So, well, since it is wrongly known, well, we have to correct those things. So, na, what you say, Bhāṣyakara says, it is not, you are saying that we are waiting for fourth to know, and you are basically negating it. But actually it is other than these three, it is quite known to us. Why should you negate all these three? So Bhāṣyakara says that that's not correct. Your objection is not correct. Sarpadi vikalpa pratishedhena eva. Here pratishedha means displacing, negating, etc. So the superimposed status of the snakehood, sarpadi vikalpa. These are all vikalpa. Either you say vikalpa, either you say adhyāropa, anything. That's the same thing. Or dvaita also. Sarpadi. So sarpa and then bhuchidra, etc., garland, mala, either of that. We should take three because there are also three. Vishwa, Tejas, Prajna. They are adhyāropa. So this is also three. We should take it. So adipadat, we can take this. So this superimposed sarpa means this sarpatvam, etc. means by displacing this superimposed status, snakehood. Rajju swarupa pratipattivat. Just as mistaken snake is understood as a rope, mistaken snake is understood as rope by what? By negation of what? Negation of superimposed snake. So just as the rope is understood by negation, just as the mistaken rope is understood as rope by negation of the superimposed snake, right? So same way, trayavasthasya atmanaha eva. Turiyatvena pratipadayishatatvat. So this Turīya, the Ātmā, in reality, which is one alone, which is mistaken as what? Trayavastha. Trayavastha means mistaken as a Vishwa Tejasa Prajna. Ātmā, which is mistaken as a Vishwa Tejasa Prajna, by whom? By some special person? No, whoever is born will take oneself either as a waker right now. Well, when I dream, I am a dreamer. When I sleep, I am a deep sleeper. That's what it is. I has no more than reality other than these three. That is the mistake. And therefore Ātmā is quite distinct from this. All these three are one alone. In fact, all the three states of experiences are possible because of me alone. All the three states of experience exist because of me alone. That is not known at all. Therefore, I is known or not? I is known, but mistakenly known. So, same way here also. So, Vishwa Tejasa Prajna, Ātmā is mistakenly known as Vishwa Tejasa Prajna. Turiyatvena pratipadayishatatvat. So, Upanishad wants to correct our understanding that it is not either of these three. It is distinct. It is Turīya. All these three are one alone. Vishwa Tejasa Prajna are one alone. Turīya. But Turīya is distinct from all these three in terms of reality. Turīya, remaining Turīya, appears as three. That's what it wants to convey. Therefore, definitely that's how it is considered as a fourth. Not in that they are equal order of reality. Vishwa, Tejasa, Prajna, and the fourth one is Turīya. No. Anyway, and like what? So Upanishad wants to correct this Turīya, point out the Turīya. Pratipadayishitattvat, pratipaditum ishtatvat, pratipaditum to reveal, ishtatvat desire to reveal. So desire, ishtatvat, it intends to reveal. Shruti wants to reveal. Turīya, yes, Turīya, by negating these three, Nanta Pragnam, because self is already known, being self-revealing, but due to self-ignorance, the self is not known as it is. Self is mistaken. The self-judgment is a wrong. Self-error is there. Anyway, therefore it has to be corrected. Mistake is to be corrected. And therefore it has been said, Nanta Pragnam Ityadi. And Bhāṣakara says, Tattvamasi itivat. So, this Mahāvākya corrects the mistake. Tattvamasi itivat, like the Mahāvākya Tattvamasi. Means Mahāvākya also does the same job, correction. Even though here it is not a Mahāvākya as such, the seventh mantra, but Bhāṣakara gives example of a Mahāvākya. So how does Mahāvākya correct the mistake in our mind? Well, so Mahāvākya says, you are Brahman, right? You means what? You one who is exposed to the teaching, one who is exposed to this knowledge. Then who is he? Pramata, the knower. The knower operates this means of knowledge, Shabda Pramana, in order to know oneself. Therefore, when it is said, you are Brahman, you, the knower, is Brahman. And when it is said, student will say what? Student will not tell to teacher, you are Brahman. that is not to be told. Yeah. But so, student has to say, I am Brahman. Now, before that, hearing that statement, you are Brahman, Mahāvākya, before hearing, this person was saying what? I am a knower. Right? I want to know myself. I am a knower. This is a means of knowledge. The teaching is a means of knowledge, etc., etc. Right? What is the object of knowledge? The self itself is the object of knowledge. Anyway, so this was a thing. But when he heard that you are Brahman, then definitely now he says, I am Brahman. Then where that knower has gone? So earlier he was saying, I am knower, operating means of knowledge, exposing to the teaching and all that. Now he says, I am Brahman. Where the knower has gone? Oh, knower has died. Then who is there right now? The knower is right there. Only thing is, he corrected the mistake. That's it. Knower and Brahman, in that, well, he has understood the Brahman is the reality. Knower is a status, incidental status. Why knower is my status? Because I am knowledge, Brahman. I am Jnanam, Satyam Jnanam. I cannot be the knower unless I am knowledge by essentially. I cannot be the knower unless I am consciousness essentially. And therefore it's my incidental status. Mithya, Pratishedha. This is called Pratishedha. This is how knower is knocked out. We can say knocked out means it remains. It will be there. It will be there. Yeah. But it has now become Mithya. He understood the very basis of that knower. He understood the very adhishthanam of the knower. That is the reality. Knower is incidental. Very, very true. How can you say knower is incidental? You are not a knower in a deep sleep state. You are not knower. And right now also you may not be knower in a waking state. Of course, the people who are attending the class, they say, we are knower here. The people, the same person, when suppose he gets up during a class, because of some reason, he gets up and does something. He doesn't say, I am a knower right now. He says, I am a doer. Right? Therefore, in a waking state, even the knower doesn't remain constantly. Knower, doer, knower, doer. Keeps doing, going. Karta, bhokta. And therefore, these are all incidental. But the basis is the consciousness, which he has understood. So tattvamasi itivat, you are that. So you are that Brahman. Means you, the knower, who is right now operating the means of knowledge, hearing to this teaching and everything, well, he understands immediately that, well, but the truth of me is Brahman. Therefore he says, I am Brahman. I am consciousness, I am knowledge, etc. So student is to correct the mistake in the form of a self-correction. There is no revelation of the self. Yeah. Shastra does not reveal the self. That's for sure. If Shastra reveals self, self is not self-revealing. Shastra has to reveal. If Shastra has to reveal, basically if Shastra reveals the self basically is an inert entity. Anything, the consciousness cannot be revealed by anybody, because everything is revealed to the consciousness. Everything is revealed to the consciousness. That consciousness is already is. And therefore ease is consciousness, and consciousness is always ease, Satchit. Anyway, my point is, and that ease and consciousness cannot be more than one. Cannot be more than one. Existence is one. Consciousness is one. Several things are existed. So the existence in several things belongs to this existence. And that because everything is revealed, thereby you say it is. Then who reveals it? Consciousness reveals it. And therefore consciousness lends existence. And therefore ultimately in the entire creation is basically, as I told you, I think in the last class, entire creation is woven totally. Woven in this Satchit. Totally woven. You won't find anything else. Anything you analyze, you will not find anything. Only you get a heap of words. Words and words. Vacharambanam. Anything. Whatever you want to analyze in this creation. Either a body, either your thought, either your senses, either your prana, hunger, thirst, or either in the space, time, anything you analyze, you get words and words and words. Just only the reality, the substantial thing in any substance is Satchit. You will, other than that, words. What is pot? Oh, it is clay. So the clay has knocked out pot. Now you have just with you, the one who is analyzing has a one word called pot. There is no pot. Pot is with you as a word. Oh, clay is a substance. Kya baat hai? So particles. Oh, clay is knocked out. You got another word, clay. Corresponding to word clay, there is no clay. All that is there is particles. Go particles, molecules. So particles, you got now third word. So your pocket is full of words. You, the analyzer of a given thing, what is the truth of a part? You get words and words and words. Finally, only Satchit you will get, nothing else. But finally we get, right, Swamiji? Not at every stage. Every stage Satchit. Pot is, pot shines. Clay is, clay shines. That is the one thing which is not available for negation. Other than that, name form is negation. Just words. So what is there is the concrete thing is Satchit, which is free from any dimension, etc. I am not going, but my point is, so this is how the whole part is woven in Satchit. Like I used to say, a woolen sweater is woven in the wool thread. Nothing else. The whole sweater. You can in fact take it out. Politely you can take it out. When the person is not there who has done this job, you can take it out. You can make a whole bunch of that thread. Yeah. Nothing else. That's what we learned in Panchadaśī, if you remember. The canvas and the painting and everything. Amazing thing. So that's how Upanishad says, Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahma. Upanishad doesn't see anything other than that. All that is there in your experience, which is called duality, is simply at the level of experience, just an appearance. It's a superficial thing. That form has certain purpose, that's a different thing. But the substance behind any form is Sachin. So this person has understood, well, I am not knower, I am Sachidananda, I am Brahman, etc. So he corrected the mistake. He just corrected the mistake. He was knowing already, but not knowing as he was. As he is, I'm sorry. So, while he corrected. So, the wrong conclusion, I am Jiva, etc., is which is falsely superimposed. The Ahankara is which is falsely superimposed upon. Somebody superimpose means it has been taken from somewhere and put on this. If it has been taken from somewhere else, then it is another reality, okay? And therefore, what is non-separate but not understood, right? Ahankara is non-separate from the Ātmā. But not knowing Ātmā as it is, you take Ahankara as Ātmā. That's what the mistaken. That's one has to correct. That the Ahankara is mithya. Either I say body, mind, sense complex is mithya. Either I say Ahankara is mithya, is one and the same thing. Sometimes teachers say Ahankara is mithya. Sometimes they say, well, Atma Anatma Viveka means body is mithya, Atma is Satyam, etc. Body is Anatma, mithya, Drishyam, etc. And we feel sometimes that body, mind, sense complex, that is Anatma. And Atma is Satyam, etc. And when Ahankara comes, people get baffled. Because Ahankara looks very conscious. It is a conscious entity, but not. It's a Chidabhasa only. Ahankara is Anatma, by the way. And therefore Ahankara also is objectified. Ahankara also comes and goes. Ahankara keeps changing. And therefore Ahankara is Anatma. Like any other thing in the world. Is basically, it was not there before, will not be there later. It is in between. In between it is there right now, and when it is there also, it keeps on changing and looks very substantial, like pot, but there is no substance at all. No substance. Even though you call pot as a substance, but there is no substance in the pot. The substance is only clay. And same way here, Ahankara also looks a very big entity, right? Entity, individual. Very solid entity. It's totally apparent. You won't find anything there. Nothing. All that is there is Atma alone. Anyway, so therefore, I am individual, means I is known, but mistakenly known. When you say individual, I am Brahman, well, that is a correction done through the exposure to the teaching of Mahāvākya. Anyway, so that is, so Vishvatajas Prajna, etc. is replaced. Therefore, it should be told Nanta Prajnam, Na Bahish Prajnam, No Bhayata Prajnam, etc. So Turīya is revealed like that, and so no new thing has been revealed. The mistake has been corrected here. Anywhere negation, in fact, in Shastra, all negation. In so-called Vidhimukha also, affirmation also, ultimately Bhagatyaga has to be brought. So negation is the baseline, because being self-revealing, it is known to everybody without any pramana. It is aparoksha, and but not known as it is, because there is ignorance. Yadi hi, Bhāṣakara says, Trevasthatma vilakshanam turiyam anyat tat pratipatti dvara abhavat shastropadesha anarthakyam shunyatapattirva. Further, suppose, Bhāṣakara says, it is okay, now we gave answer to that person, why we are negating, because negation is not really a definition of anything. Definition reveals a thing, and negation is not really called. If a definition has a negation, then it's not a definition. Definition has to reveal. In order to reveal it, they have to say, definition has to say, this is like this, or this is called this. That's it. That's the definition. Negation cannot be. If I ask you what is table and you start negating, table is not a computer, table is not a camera, table is not this, table is not this, ultimately you will lose patience. You will say, I am asking you what is table. I am not asking you what table is not. But I am negating, because if you think the table is what I call as a computer, suppose you think this is a table, that is a table, then I have to say table is not computer, table is not this, table is not this. Therefore, negation in a Vedānta, neti, etc. is meant to correct the mistake. Why? Because here there is nothing new to be revealed. Self is self-revealing. Other than that, anything in this world is not self-revealing. It is revealed to the self, but the self reveals itself. Therefore, it is called self. It is called self because it is self-revealing and it is self-existing. What is self-revealing is self-existing. And therefore, such a Ātmā is right there. When you say space is, it automatically proves that you are. Time is, it automatically proves you are. Right? Anything is. We feel that it is independent existence. You don't realize that that thing is revealed to you. Means you exist. Otherwise, through whom it gets revealed. Anyway, my point is, so self-revealing, self-existent Ātmā is there. But, well, because of its self-revealing nature, it can be mistaken. Yeah, that's the thing. If it is not revealed at all, right? If it is not self-revealing, we will not operate means of knowledge and we will not know it also. But it is self-revealing but not known properly. Therefore, there is a mistake. Therefore, sometimes we say known and unknown. Known. Self is known? Yes. Self is not known? Yes. Yeah. Either way. I am, that is everything. Puja Swami used to say, I am. How do you know you are? I know I am. You are not to give any reason. Because of your nature, self-revealing. So, how do you know you are? I am. I know I am. Again, if he asks, how do you know you are? I know I am. What will you say? What will you say? Oh, because I am awake, therefore I am. No. In a sleep also, you are very much there, sir. Therefore, please understand this. I know I am. My existence is known to me. My existence is self-revealing. But not known as it is. And therefore say, I am a waker, I am a this. Therefore, Shastra has to negate that in order to basically reveal the nature of Ātmā in terms of correcting the mistake. Anyway, so Bhāṣyakara now further he goes, Yadihi Trayavastha Ātma Laksham Vilakshanam, etc. That's on page number 48, second line. So Bhāṣyakara says, suppose this is not a truth. And Turīya is a, let us say, a separate entity. Means other than Vishva Taijasa Prajna. Equal order of reality. The fourth one, suppose. Then such a Turīya can never be basically revealed by the Shastra. Turīya can never be revealed. If Turīya is a separate entity other than this Vishva Taijasa and Prajna, Turīya cannot be revealed by Shastra. Why? Because in that introduction itself we have already seen that Turīyam does not fulfill the condition for verbal revelation, verbal access. Shabda Pravritti Nimitta is not there. Nimitta, the conditions for the Shabda Pravritti, for the verbal access, for Brahman, in order to reveal Brahman, is not there. Because the conditions are absent. Jati is not there, Guna is not there, Kriya is, etc., etc. And therefore, if Turīya is an independent entity, the fourth entity, equal order of reality like Vishva Taijasa Prajna, 3, and the fourth is that Turīya, independent, it is separate entity, then how will you reveal that Turīya? How will you reveal? Because the Turīya being Turīya, it doesn't have any condition where you can employ certain words and reveal it. And therefore, if Turīyam is a new entity, nobody can know it also. So you can say, well, I don't know Turīyam, because Turīya being, it doesn't have any condition to reveal through the words. Or you should say, Turīya is śūnya. That's what the pūrvapakṣa came before also. So either you don't know it, because if it is a separate entity, therefore you don't know it because it cannot be reached through the words, cannot be revealed, therefore you don't know it. Or we have to say, such a Turīya is a śūnya. If Turīya is a new entity. But fortunately, is not a new entity. It's already known in the form of an I. And so this is yadihi trayavasthatma vilakṣanam turiyam anyat. So trayavastha here, so trayavasthatma basically, it's a big compound. Tisraha avasthaha yasya atmanah saha atma trayavasthatma. Trayavastha atma. And tasmad vilakṣanam, etc. So trayavasthatma vilakṣanam. So the Atma which is, so Trayavastha you know very well, this Vishwa Tejasa Prajna, etc. So Atma which is common, Trayavastha Atma means Atma which is common to all the three, naturally, first pada, second pada, third pada of the Atma only. And this is a fourth pada which is separate from these three, etc. Then definitely Trayavastha Atma Vilakṣanam Turiyam Anyat Yadihi, suppose if it is so, Tat Pratipatti Dvara Abhavat. Pratipatti, Jnanam. Dwaram means a doorway. Doorway to gain knowledge of such a Turīya as a separate entity. So, and what is a doorway to know anything? Doorway for knowledge is what? Pramana, means of knowledge. Therefore, tat pratipatti dvara abhavat. We do not have the fourth state of experience in which means of knowledge are there to know Turīya. Swamiji, this is wrong. Because the fourth state, Samādhi, is there. Samādhi is a state where no means of knowledge are there. What are the means of knowledge which are operated in a Samādhi? In fact, when all the means of knowledge resolve, there is a Samādhi. Okay? If means of knowledge are operating, there will be a vritti. Right? If eyes are there, open, operating right now in Samādhi, means I am seeing. Therefore, there will be a vritti. And this is a nirvikalpaka Samādhi. Nirvikalpaka Samādhi means no vikalpa, subject-object should be there. So, no thought pertaining to the objects. If no thought pertaining to objects are there in Samādhi, therefore, definitely those thoughts are not arising. Therefore, the means of knowledge which allow the objects to enter into and create that object thoughts are not there. In fact, in a Samādhi, even your mind is almost resolved totally. It is a vacant room which is lighted. It's the difference between the deep sleep and Samādhi is only one. In both the states, the room is vacant. One is lighted, other is dark. That's the difference. That's it. Nothing else. So there are no means of knowledge operated in a deep sleep state also, including your mind. In a way, here in a Samādhi, since all the thoughts pertaining to idam vritti has gone, aham vritti has also become almost dormant. Almost. Because as you see something, you say, I am a seer. That's a very manifest ahankara. That's not. So definitely ahankara is there, but it is because all thoughts pertaining to idam has gone. Since the mind is vacant, the ahankara also is almost subdued. Therefore it is, I call it as a lighted. Right? The mind is there, but vacant, lighted. There in a deep sleep state, mind is dormant, dark. That's a room. Anyway, so therefore, fourth state in which we'll know Turīya, but there are no means of knowledge. To know, you need a means of knowledge. So if Turīya doesn't have an access, that's a different thing. Let's say Turīya can be known. If Turīya can be known, you should have a means of knowledge. And in Samadhi is a state where there is no means of knowledge. If means of knowledge are operating, you are in a waking state, not Samadhi. And therefore, definitely, there is no fourth state to know Turīya. So that's how Bhashyakara says, Tat pratipatti dvara abhavat. There are no means of knowledge, absence of a means of knowledge, tat pratipatti, Turīya pratipatti, in order to know that. So, dvara abhavat, so therefore Turīya cannot be revealed as some new entity, because the fourth state, etc., is not there. Anyway, so here it says further, tat pratipatti dvara abhavat, tat pratipatti dvara abhav shastropadesha anarthakyam. Then shastra upadesha anarthakyam. If the Turīya is independent of the three, then what is that fourth state in which means of knowledge are active? Okay, your means of knowledge are not necessary, correct. But you want to expose yourself to the Shastra, that's a means of knowledge to know. That how will you operate means of knowledge? How will you expose yourself to teaching in a Samadhi? How will you expose? In fact, before going to Samadhi, person was taking himself as an individual, maybe the waker. That was the reality for him. He has gone into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi and had an experience of a Nirvikalpaka Ātmā, that I am free from any Vikalpa, etc. I am not Ahankara, I am not this. Such kind of experience was there, not knowledge. Such experience is there. Like you had a experience of a Nirvikalpa in a deep sleep state, you know very well that you are very much there, but nothing else was there. So but you were not knowing in a deep sleep state, that's fine. Here you may be knowing. Because all objects, all thoughts pertaining to objects have gone, means the world has gone. Therefore you say, well, I alone is. Fine, without any Vikalpa. So you have a same Nirvikalpaka experience. And when you come out from the Samadhi, you take again yourself as the same waker. That shows that the ignorance of oneself has not gone. That shows that during Samadhi, you could not operate any means of knowledge. If a means of knowledge you have operated in Samadhi, you would know yourself. But Samadhi is a state where means of knowledge also resolve, including mind. And therefore Shastropadesha Anarthakyam, if Turīya is a separate entity in order to know, well, definitely these three states will not be useful. Waking is not, because Waker and Turīya are independent entity. Therefore, waking state will not be useful to you. Means right now, in a waking state, you are operating means of knowledge exposed to teaching. To get the knowledge of Turīya will not be useful, because Turīya is a separate entity, independent entity, naturally. Definitely in a dream, nobody can know. Deep sleep state, of course, you cannot know. Therefore, you need a fourth state. And such a fourth state in which Pramana also is there. Means of knowledge are also there. In order to, so that you can know yourself as a Turīya, etc. Not there. And therefore, Shastropadesha Anarthakyam. Shastra is basically useful in a waking state for a waker. And waker is told, you are Turīya. Therefore, Turīya cannot be an independent entity. Where the waker is, there the Turīya is. Yeah. So the person, the waker, the knower, who is operating who is a knower right now, operating a means of knowledge called Shastra, well, knocks out. When he hears this Mahāvākya, you are Brahman, he knocks out the waker, the knower, and says, I am Brahman. Okay? And when he understands it as a basis for all the three. When he says, I am Turīya, definitely he understands basis of not just as a waker in the waking world, waking experience, also will understand as a dreamer and the basis for the dreamer in the dream world, and the basis for the deep sleeper and even Ishvara also. Anyway, or unmanifest world. So basically this is how it is. Therefore it shows that, well, Vaker, where the Vaker is, there the Turīya is. And you, if both cannot be a reality. Both cannot be a reality, because one will negate the other. If anything which is negated out of this cannot be the reality. What is negated is a Vaker. What is not negated is a Turīya. That is the Turīya which is connects, which is in the form of I, connects all to all the three states. He says, I am a Vaker now, I dreamt, I slept. So that is that I which is present in all the three states, where even Vaker is not there, even there also this I remains. That shows that that I is a independent of all the three states. These three are not independent of the I, because I being present there, but definitely I am quite distinct from this. If Vaker goes away, I do not go away, therefore I am quite distinct. If dreamer comes and goes, well, still I come and I go, no, I am ever present. Deep sleeper comes and goes, I do not go away. Therefore I must be the distinct from three in terms of reality. They are not away from me, but I am quite distinct from all the three, therefore I am fourth. That way I am fourth. These three are not these three knock out each other. But basically, when all the three are there, either of them are there, I am very much there. So that's how we have to understand this as if it is an independent entity, Shastropadesha anarthakyam. So definitely it is anarthaka. It will not have a serve any purpose. Śunyata apattirva. Śunyata apatti. So it will lead to Śunyata either. Because such a Turīya will exist or not itself is a question. Such a Turīya which is quite distinct from all the three and doesn't have any conditions to reveal by the words, then how will you, whether it exists or not, how will you know? How will you know it? Whether such a thing is there or not. And that's how in that 13th chapter, the 12th verse, Gneyam yattat pravakṣāmi yajñātvāmritamashnuté anādimat param brahma nasat na asat uchyate. So Gneyam yattat pravakṣāmi. Bhagavan says, I am going to talk about this kshetrajña yat pravakṣāmi, that you should know. Yajñātva amrutam ashnute. Amrutam. That's what you are searching. Sometimes we are not searching. We don't want amrutam. We don't want to go to Swargaloka. Hey, you know, you want a freedom from samsara, a freedom from struggle. That is the uselessness of the human life. Where person, you imagine, what is this samsara? You know, it's an amazing thing. What you can, what you don't want in your life, but what you cannot get rid of is samsara. What you don't want in your life, yet you cannot get rid of that, that's called bondage. That's called bondage. That is the only thing in the life which makes a hell. Which makes hell. In that, where is Amruta? You don't want insecurity at any moment. You want to see yourself as a secure being throughout the life. You want to see yourself as a full being all the time. You want a peaceful life. Sometimes I want a peace in my life. I think after getting retirement, I'm going to be a peaceful. Forget it. Just forget it. Peace is not something which you can acquire. Fullness you cannot acquire. Fullness, that's a common sense. If fullness is to be acquired, therefore you are different and fullness is different, then definitely fullness is not fullness. You are not full, that's one thing, of course. But the fullness is definitely cannot be other than you. Cannot be away in time. Cannot be in a different place. So right now, what is here and now must be full. And there is only one thing which is here and now. Only one thing. Nothing can come in this category. What is here and now is only I. Here and now is only I. Not even your thought is here and now. No. Now it may be gone. What a thought right now here may not be there later. Not thought, not perceptive power, not your hunger, not thirst, not even body. Somebody here and now, this is what it has changed so much. Gone. Everything which is within time and space cannot be here and now. What is here and now must be free from the limitations of space and time. And that is I. Only I. Now also I. Right? Here and now is I. Next moment, I. Here and now. Here and now. Anywhere you go, you say here. Going to Italy, you say what? Here. Right? Going to Italy, you will say what? Here. And that here, what is there? I. Now, at that moment, I. And therefore, the I must be free from the limitations of space and time. So the fullness which you are seeking in your life, the inner comfort which you are seeking in your life, the self-acceptance you are seeking in your life, cannot be other than yourself. That's how knowing that yourself is not just knower, waker. Okay? It's a error. Knowing yourself is gneyam yattat pravakshami, tad brahma, anadimat param. Param Brahma, that anadimat, which is beginningless. And that Brahman is na sat, na asat. Na sat means it doesn't exist as an object. Na asat, it is not a non-existent. It is not a śūnyam. Therefore, Acharya quotes here, and very apt quotation. Yeah, it's in 13th chapter, 12th verse. So it is not an object. This Turīya is not an object separate from this three. And Turīya cannot be even a śūnyam, not non-existent also, na asat. And therefore, basically, we cannot accept that Turīya is separate from these three. In fact, Turīya is the basis of all three. Turīya is the basis, the adhisthana of all three, but Turīya is not known as a Turīya. And therefore, what is apparent, called Vishva Tejas Prajna, are taken real. When real is not known, then what is apparent is taken as real. That's what it is. Therefore, one takes oneself as a Vishwa, one takes oneself as a Tejasa, one takes oneself as a Prajna. Therefore, while revealing Turīya, Shastra's job is to negate Nanta Prajnam, na Bahish Prajnam, na Ubhayata Prajnam, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, so this is what is said here. Then further, Bhāṣyakara says, I have some 8 minutes, okay. Rajjuriva sarpadibihi vikalpyamana sthanatraye api Ātmā ekaha eva antఃprajñāditvena vikalpyate yada tada antঃprajñāditva pratisheda vijñāna pramāna samakalameva Ātmani anartha prapancha nivrutti lakshanam phalam parisamaptam iti Turīya adhigame pramānantaram sadhanantaram vana mrugyam Rajju sarpa viveka samakala iva rajjvam sarpa nivrutti phale sati rajvadigamasya. So rajvadigamasya. So rajjuhu iva, Bhāṣyakara says further, that in the case of a rope, right? Rajjuhu iva sarpadibihi vikalpyamana. Rajju is a feminine noun. Therefore sarpadi vikalpyamana rajju. The rajju which is mistaken as a snake. Vikalpyamana is adhyāropita, superimposition, error, whatever that's up to you, whatever you want to take. So sarpadi bihi, sarpa, mala, etc. So in the case of a rope being mistaken as a snake or something else, and mala on crack on the earth, etc. And same way, ekaha eva Ātmā, the same Turīya, right, is taken, akhanda Turīya. No division at all. Nothing can divide. Nothing can divide. What is mithya? How can it divide? What is apparent cannot divide. They just appear one by one. That's what the life is. They just appear. The whole waker and the waking world appear. Waker and waking world, or you say waker and and Virat. And you can understand the presence of Virat where in an experience of the waker of the waking world. There is arrangement there. Yeah, that's a beautiful arrangement. That's called order. Eyes of a Muktatma. And suppose a form, color. See, waking world. Form, color. See. Order. This is an eternal order. No one can change. It is your eyes, form, color, experience takes place. If it is a snake's eye, form, color takes place. One order. Yeah. Psychological order. Human being, not just Muktatma. Human being, human psychology. Order. All laws, eternal laws. Physiology, another law. That's how any invention they do of a drug, they don't do on the crores. They do only on few animals. That's it. Only on few animals. And once it is successful in animal in getting rid of certain disease, they are jubilant. They will have a champagne. They will be through. Imagine. Billions of people are there. They have to taste that drug in every human being. No. Eternal order. Eternal law. If it is applicable in a monkey or in a rabbit or white mice, etc., it will be applicable in human being. They may do a certain more test. That's fine. Clinical test and other things. That's fine. But they will definitely put in market immediately. Any human being, Asian, Chinese, American, whatever. This is what is called Virat. This is the order. So the waker and waking world. Swamiji, that Jiva and Jagat, where is Ishvara? Is that order. That order. A given thing is like that and a given thing functions like that. That is Ishvara. That's it. That's how Pujya Swamiji always says, this is how Ishvara is. Sun, this is how sun is. So he says, well, this is how Ishvara is. This is how snow is. This is how Ishvara is. Amazing. It's just it makes the presence of Ishvara, recognition of Ishvara in your life makes the life resistance free. Yeah, that's called devotee. Who is free from resistance in wake of knowledge of Ishvara. So Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, everything is in one Turīya, one state of experience. Same a dreamer and dream world and the experience and all that. Anyway, so my point is, so this sarpadibihi vikalpyamana rajjuhu iva ekah eva atma antaprajñāditvena vikalpyate. It is also antaprajñāditvena as a dreamer, etc. So that's a ithambhude. In the form, one Turīya, remaining one Turīya, just one Turīya, dense. Yeah, Pujya Swami, what is that? A mass of consciousness. A mass of consciousness. Pujya Swami, we also used to do a mass of consciousness. Nothing else. Nothing else. What is there in your sweater is nothing else but just a thread. Mass of thread. Nothing else. Please understand this way. Nididhyasanam is of two types. One is from the standpoint of the reality. That is Advaita, Vastu. So I am Sachidananda, etc. is one. And also Nididhyasanam in the form of Dvaita Nisheda. Equally important. Understanding everything as just apparent. Just apparent. Nothing else. What is there as a substance in anything is you, the Sachidananda. Other than you, independent of you, nothing is revealed, nothing is proven existent. That is including your body, including your thought, your memory, your perception, your imaginations, your fascinations, your perceptive power, your sense organs, yeah, your body. Nothing can be revealed existent in absence of you. You are that Satchidananda, which is free from any limits. So this is how two types of nididhyasanams should be done. Dvaita nivritti, Dvaita nisheda rather, mithyatvam. Nisheda means mithyatvam. And Advaita siddhi. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.